How y'all doing? Crickey Joe here. I'm playing Farming Simulator 2013 on the Two Rivers map. I played this map extensively, different ways. I'm going to play this one with old equipment because I grew up on a farm in south central Kansas and we had a lot of old equipment that I enjoyed driving. So we're going to start off with the New Holland Clayson M. What is this? The M135 as our harvester, as our combine. Um, and I purchased the Dutes D80 and a small tipper to get started on our fields. If you're not familiar with this map, which I imagine most of you are, we own Field 8, which is unplanted, Field 9, which I believe has canola, Field 10, which has wheat, Field 12, which has barley, and then way down south we have Field 36 and 37. 36 is planted with canola, and 37 is planted with barley. So we're going to start and get the Clayson combines up on field number 9 to start harvesting canola. And I have Courseplay installed, so we will be using Courseplay to unload the harvesters combines. I probably will get a second Clayson combine to help because they're so small and these fields are relatively large. So let's get started. Let's go over to the combine, jump over that. This is a loud combine. Growing up on a farm in central Kansas, or south central Kansas, we farmed wheat mainly. We did some alfalfa, we had some cattle, we had pigs off and on. We harvested wheat or wheat year in, year out. And the combines that we used were Gleaner Baldwins. My dad, when I was young, he had a Model G Gleaner. It had an 18-foot header on it. And I started to drive the combine, I believe I was around 12 years old, so I was in middle school, junior high age. I drove the C2 Gleaner, a smaller model than the one my dad drove. So we had two combines initially when I first started. Later on, as time went by, my two younger brothers got old enough. We ended up having 3 combines running at one time. We owned, let's see, Dad had the Gleaner G model. We had the Gleaner C2 model. We had a couple Gleaner C models. We also had a John Deere Model 55 at one point. We had an International Harvester Model 303, I believe it was. And the largest combine we ever owned was a Massey Ferguson Model number 750. Let's get this guy started real quick. There he goes. Let's go over to the Dutes tractor, get him out there and get him started. Sometimes I drive in cab. Sometimes I drive outside cab. I don't do a lot of panning around all the time because I'm not really a good driver in this game. So yeah, we own several different brands and sizes of combines over the years. I learned, like I said, when I was around 12 years old, I believe it was, when I first started driving a combine. First time I ever drove by myself, my dad taught me. He showed me how to drive a combine, how it operates. I know a lot about the inner workings of combines, so I'll probably talk about that at some point. But he taught me how to do it. He rode with me to make sure that I knew what I was doing, that I was safe. And the first time I ever drove solo was in our Gleaner C2. My dad had, they didn't have air conditioning, so we had installed what's called a water cooler. It's basically, it's on top of the cab of the combine. And it has a fan inside that blows air on you, and a water jug is mounted to the side of the cab, and has hoses running up to the water cooler, and a pump that pumps cool water and circulates it through the system, and it kind of cools the air down so you're not so hot while you're out harvesting. And so he had wired it in. And being harvest time and installing that during harvest time when you're just so ready to get out there and get the wheat cut and get it hauled in case it rains or hails or something, or tornadoes in Kansas. He had wired it without fuses, and first time I went out, I got within like I think 15, 20 feet of actually starting to cut wheat on my own, and one of the wires overheated and caught fire. So my first experience at 12 years old in cutting wheat on my own, I had to jump out of the cab and jump down to the ground, gather up as much dirt as I could, and turn the combine off, of course, first, and then was trying to smother the flames in the plastic shroud and fan above my head. My mom at the time, she was 9 months pregnant with my youngest brother, and she was just huge in the belly. She was ready to deliver any day. He was actually born in July, and this was June. And she came waddling out, trying to run, 9 months pregnant with a 5-gallon bucket of water because she had seen the smoke coming out of the cab of the combine, and me being 12 years old, and her being my mom, of course she loved me. So she was trying to haul water out to help me. Let me get this guy set up real quick. This one is field 12, so looks like this one has field 12 unload. No, I'm not going to go through how to set up horseplay and all that good stuff. Most people who want to use it have already figured it out. Get my speeds and stuff set up here, go my levels. Set him this way. He'll run the course real quick, go back to the tipping point at the silos, and then go back and then leave the combine. So in the meantime, that's basically my story of my first experience harvesting wheat on my own. Excuse me. So, and I started driving tractor when I was, I think around 10 years old. I was small. It may seem strange to most people a kid that young driving a big machine. I remember being so small and short that my feet couldn't reach the pedals or the clutch and the brakes on the tractor. And my dad had to actually rig up a hand lever. Basically, it was a rod that I could grab with my left hand, which had a pivot point in the center, and at the bottom end, it rested against the clutch pedal, so that if I pulled with my hand, it would push the clutch pedal, and at the bottom, put the tractor, started, but put it in gear. So I was small enough my feet wouldn't reach the pedals. And I remember later, having that hand clutch, I remember my hand had slipped at one point. I had pulled the lever all the way back, and my hand slipped off of it, and it sprung forward, and the top end of the metal lever ended up hitting the windshield of the tractor and cracked it. My dad was kind of pissed. But I was 10 years old, what do you want? I ended up replacing the windshield, and that was that. Yep, I got the wrong field. Loaded. Let me reset that. I had loaded field 12, and he's actually on field number 9. Excuse me. I'll start talking and I can't play. Alright. Let's try that. See what happens. So this is a nice map. My favorites. Excuse me. Maps I mainly play on, or this one, and play a little bit on Hagenstedt. Originally, of course, that was the only map I had until I learned how to download mods, and once in a while I'll go back and play Hagenstedt just for old time's sake. I enjoy that map, even though it has trees everywhere that you get hung up on. I like this map also because the fields are larger, which kind of reminds me what it was like being out in larger fields. We farmed probably 800-900 acres of wheat every year. Okay, so this guy's going to run all the way around again. Let him do his thing. So we did a lot of farming. I mean, we weren't like the biggest farmers in the area. We weren't the smallest. I would consider us small farmers. It was a hard life, but it was enjoyable, and it was honest, decent work. Spent many years sweating and toiling on the land. My my dad still lives there. He's 70, he'll be 71 this year. He no longer farms. I can't remember what year he stopped farming. The early 2000s, I think. So I started at 10 years old. We farmed all the way up until I was in my late 20s, early 30s. So I have experience in farming. I know how things work. On our farm, we would not have unloaded combines with a tractor and trailer like this. On our farm, we would have had a tractor and a grain cart. And I think some of the mod sites, they call those overloaders. Basically, it's a grain wagon that has a built-in auger on the front. So we had one of those that we would actually drive out to the combines to unload. And then from there, we would take that grain in the tractor and grain trailer, take it over to the wheat truck, and unload it onto the truck, and then go back and forth with the combines in the truck. And I do have some grain carts or overloaders downloaded in this game. I don't use them that often, because on this game right now I want to try to use all of them. And the grain carts that I do have look way too modern, much too big. And I've tried to find, old-looking wheat trucks, grain trucks. And I've downloaded some. I downloaded some last night, actually, a couple of them. And they look okay. But on course play, one of them didn't understand where it was supposed to go. And the second one looked way too modern for the kind of theme I want to do with this series. Because I want to keep everything small and old. Yes, it may be boring, it may take forever, but that's what I do. We drove tractors too throughout my life on the farm. We had modern tractors, but we also had some old ones. My dad still has an old Oliver model 1500, I think it's 15 or 1600, I think this is 1600. So he still has that tractor on the farm, and it's a front loader. And we use it because we next year we're going to be putting in some vegetables for our family and also to sell at the farmer's market in our local town, which I'm not going to name because I really wish it were anonymous. So here we go. He's turning around, driving the combine. He should pull up and unload. That's right. I've used this tractor and this combine several times in many of the games I've played personally, so I know it works. Every once in a while, of course, play will mess up and I'll hit a wall or something. The good thing about this map is that the trees are drive through. I think all of them are actually. One problem I've had with this field on my regular gameplay is that on the other side of the field over there's a stack of firewood that if I run cultivators crossways and go back and forth this direction, sometimes they'll get hung up on that or high center, so I have to reset them. So. Let's go ahead and let this guy do his thing. I'm going to go ahead and purchase another place of combine to get it up there. A little bit of a hand. Since I've started him going down the center of the field, I'll start another combine on the other section that we cut off. So we'll have problems with them running into each other. Very good. It's a new home place. We'll get another one of those. Another header. And we'll have to get another tractor. Get another, oops, not that one. I'm going to get another Dutes D80. I like the Dutes D80. It's 75 horsepower. And I've got these the classics all installed on here. And it's my favorite out of all the group. So, another tipper for it. So we can give this guy a little bit of a hand. So now let's go back and reset those to the farm. A lot of people on their videos, they drive everything back to their farm. That's cool, and I do that too sometimes when I do gameplay, regular gameplay, but sometimes it just gets a little tedious. So let's get this guy's header hooked up. Drive right through the tree and the bushes. Let's get in here so we can see where we're going. attach, and in this one you have to exit the vehicle and press bar to attach the dividers. So the dividers are these little pointy things on the front. And that helps to, as you're harvesting your crop, it helps to, the side that's in the field, that's in the unharvested portion, helps to separate say the wheat that you're going to cut and the wheat that you're going to leave behind. It helps to separate and kind of split them. And the divider on the opposite side helps you as a guide, helps you in driving straight. Okay. Here, since we're right next to the tree, let's get inside so we can see where we're going to drive this guy up and get him started. And I'm sorry if it sounds like I babble, because this is new to me. This is the first time I've ever done a video recording with voice. So, I apologize if I maybe sound a little nervous or go on and on about nothing. I'd like to share some of the stories from the farm growing up. Maybe that would be interesting to someone. Many years on the farm, many stories. I won't tell you them all at once. I won't put you to sleep. This will be boring enough already. I know all the trees are drive-through, but man, you can't see anything when you drive through them. And I don't tend to like to drive through the crops that are unharvested. Even though the horseplay does that, I tend not to do that. I tend to follow the roads as much as possible. It's a nice little mod. Old. Older than anything we own, I think. I'm not even sure what year this thing came out. We have to look at one of the mod spotlights or something from their covers to figure out all the information on the manufacturing dates and horsepowers and all that, and whether it's accurate or not. But I definitely like this place of combine much more than the in-man farm that you start out with. Started. Okay. Get this one hooked up. And I tend to go silent when I'm trying to hook things up, like what most people do. Okay, let's drive through the hedge. Get in here where we can see. Here we go. Let's get this guy up to the field to unload that second combine. I promise you, when I was on the farm, I was much better than that. Even at 10 years old. I think this map has no withering, so really we're in no big hurry to get crops harvested. I plan on doing this series in a way that, I'm not in a big rush. I see so many videos where people are just rushing around and this and that and the other. Like, relax and enjoy. I enjoy playing this game. I think I got this game. I think I got this game in March or April of this year. Like countless hours. Yes, my who, by the way, is the money. That I say that about. Folks have to get over it. And I won't name them. She remains anonymous. Okay, so let's get this guy set up for the first play for field 9 this time, not field 12. Okay, where is that? There it is. Field 9 unload. Put it in combi mode. And then we need to select the combine, which I believe the second one. And set it to manual. Maximum speed. And set him off. He'll probably drive the whole course before he unloads the second combine, but that's just the way it is. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. He may actually wait, we'll see. Hey, he's waiting. Okay, I guess I need to start him closer to the end point of the course, and that way they will do what I want them to do. I don't know how long this video is going to be today. This is my first video ever. I did a test video just to see if I can actually record and upload a video without voice a day or two ago. This is my first one. I'm trying to get this to work with voice on the headset. So we'll see how that goes. So let's just get at it. It's over. Let's see what's going on. That guy waiting. The other guy should be coming back up here pretty soon. Let's go and see him. Hopefully I'm talking loud enough to record my voice and have the game volume at a decent level. I tend to be a quiet talker, so let me get up here on this rock. This will be our observation rock. Oh, he's already gone to go unload the second combine. Let's run out here. See how it's going. See how things are going here. Alright, so he's doing what he's supposed to do. The other one should be coming here pretty soon. It's already unloaded, so got a pretty view of the mountains in the background. Sunrise. Okay. I'm not gonna talk like that. It's really unmanly. So hopefully we'll just forget I ever said that. We got man work to do. We got like dirt to get under our fingernails here. Oh, another thing too, in playing this game, trying combines, I'm allergic to wheat dust. I'm on that very early on. I'm living on a wheat farm, go figure. The worst thing you can be allergic to when you're farming. Really closes up my passages to it. I can't breathe very well. I had to go to the emergency room once as a child. So when I'm in this game and I'm actually in the cab driving a combine harvesting something, you know how the dust, you can see the dust right there, how the dust comes up in the cab, and you have the combine in the cab, it actually makes me itchy. It makes me feel like I can't breathe. It makes me feel like I'm going to have trouble breathing. It brings back those memories of, there's the other guy, it brings back those memories of having trouble breathing. So I always, when I would cutting wheat, I always had to wear a dust mask. And even then, I could still get some. You know, it wasn't so bad because I really limited the intake of dust with the dust mask. And that's really the only thing that's ever caused me to close up my lungs to close up my breathing. I don't think it's ever affected me that way other than wheat dust. So we got 2 combines going and 2 tractors unloading. I think the next thing we're going to do is maybe pick up a couple of cultivators, or one at least. And I think what I'm going to use is this small Bavarian Plow Factory 3-406 cultivator. It's a 2.54 meter width, and it's small. I like to keep things small. So I'm going to go ahead and buy one of those now. And another tractor. And since we have the Dukes, the 80s on the trailers, the tippers, I think I'm going to get the Bureau RP21 cultivator. Let's buy that. Get those set back to the farm. Jump in him, get him hooked up. Really do like these old tractors. Really brings back some good memories. Good memories, but hard working memories. When we would cultivate our fields, or even plowing. Oh, and that's another thing too. The process we went through on our farm was harvesting the wheat. We rarely ever baled any straw from it. We never really used it. We basically, after we harvested, got it all all of our fields. We had several fields during the bout. Then the next step would be plowing. Sometimes, depending on rain and stuff, during and after harvest, you might actually use what's called a disc. A disc is basically a cultivator, and I have one in here, a Ford 6-meter disc, I think it is. Sometimes you would disc after harvesting, depending on how much, the weeds would come up through the leftover stubble, cut off meat stalks. Sometimes you would have to disc before you plowed, knock down those weeds, because those weeds suck so much moisture out of the ground. Eventually they make the ground too hard to plow. You need to get on top of it right now. Let's get started on this building the center. It's a small building. It'll get the job done. So anyway, disking sometimes. Then the next step would be to plow. And I don't know if anybody watching this has ever plowed before. Maybe the first few days of plowing would be exciting, but after that the novelty wears off. Especially when you're on like a 100+ acre field or even larger. Round, basically plowing the whip of your tractor every time you go around the field. It's monotonous. So in this game, I may do some plowing right now. The only small plow I have is a mod, a small tube bottom, or some people say a two-plow. We call it mods here in Kansas. So the only one I do have is a small tube bottom. And I just want to this is small enough for me. After plowing, usually what we call here a spring tooth, or a pressing spring tooth. So we would say that field trespassed that field spring tooth too. Basically, the spring tooth is a cultivator. Like this, if you look at the back of this, you'll see the teeth on the back, how they are curved and they're springy. That's why we call them spring tooth. So when you plow in the field, depending on the moisture level in the ground, plow basically just kind of heels the ground back to a depth of say 8 to 12 inches deep, depending on how deep you have it set. Basically tilts the ground back and turns it over so that the plant matter on top of it ends up being on the bottom, under. That way when you bang the soil, any weeds or the stubble left over from the harvest all gets turned under. So if the ground is kind of wet, not muddy, a lot of moisture in it, when that plow goes to the ground, it comes in like slabs, just like peeling an orange. So the ground is really rough after plowing. So you use a spring tooth after that, once the ground is kind of dried out. You don't want to cultivate your field after plowing too soon, because you basically are going to lose a lot of moisture in your soil. So after plowing, you have a lot of rough ground, and believe me, you do not travel across a plowed field at high speed. Too rough. You can disc to knock that surface down a little bit to break it down to a more fine soil, and then spring toothing or cultivating. After that, you usually don't do that until you start to see weeds start to come up. And while they're young and small, you will run out there with a spring tooth to basically break the soil up, and those small weeds and other things that have started to come up are basically laid on top of the soil where they dry out in the sun and die. But you do not want to have a field that's full of weeds before you sow your next crop. Also, after a rain, the ground dries and it gets kind of crust on top. So your fields will be kind of hard on top, like a shell. And that's why they call them crust busters too. And the crust buster is actually a brand name of a cultivator. So that's why they say crust busting, because you're breaking crust up on top of the ground so that between that and the next rain, your soil will be able to absorb more moisture. And you want to try to retain as much moisture in your fields as possible in preparation for the sowing. So here, harvest usually happens in the starts in the second third week of June, lasts into July. Usually it's done by the end of July or mid-July. Then plowing starts, and if that's done in July into early August, cultivating, spring toothing happens in the late summer into the early fall. And wheat planting time here in Kansas is usually the end of September into October, mid-October. That allows enough time for the seed to actually germinate and start to grow and get a good stand on it before the first hard freeze. Wheat is a hardy crop. It's winter hardy. We grow mainly hard red winter wheat here. I think it was originally from Russia or something like that. But wheat is a grass, and it will go dormant in the winter after the first hard freeze, just like your lawn would. So basically you have no real growth over the winter or cold months. And then when it warms up again in the spring, just like your lawn, it'll green up again and start to become active. And then through your long process. In this game, I think you can grow a crop every day in game, which is unrealistic, but hey, it's a game. So on a real farm, you're willing to work and waiting for the next crop for 365 days. So if we did that in this game, and wheat only grew every 365 days, we wouldn't call this farming simulator. We'd call it watch the wheat grow simulator. Be about as exciting as a simulator called watch the paint dry on the house. So I come from a family of 10. I have 5 sisters and 2 brothers, so there were 8 of us kids. And harvest time for us was a family affair. Everybody pitched in, whether you were out in the field doing that work or you were at the house preparing meals and taking care of the house. We all pitched in to do our part. Harvest in our family was an exciting time. Everybody was excited to get it done, get it started, and get it finished. And you're rushing to get that crop in before heavy rains or hail or high winds come. High winds will blow your crop and lay it flat on the ground, which makes it very hard to grow. You can lose it. So everybody had their job. Dad and I generally drove the combines. My brother, I won't name him, I almost did. He drove combine also. We had 3 of them going. My youngest brother also drove combine, but we also had to, someone had to run the tractor and grain cart that ran between the combine and the truck. And we drove the truck, my brothers and I, but mainly my mom was our truck driver. She was our truck driver. She was there every year in, year out. By the time harvest was over, actually, she would drive the truck, she would have her window open, and she'd always hang her arm out, her left arm. So by the end of harvest time in the summer, she would have one tan arm and one untanned arm. It's funny. And my mom was only about, 5'2", 4", something like that. So she was pretty small, driving a big old wheat truck. Not a huge wheat truck, but we had a 1961 International wheat truck. We also had an old Chevy, I think it was a little bit older than that one. We still have, my dad still has the 1961 International at the farm. It's handy when you have to haul off tree limbs or different things. Haul things off to the dump. Alright, so how are things going over here? This guy is going to the combine. This guy is waiting. That guy's still waiting. So we got this started. I'm glad I got this started finally. This guy, I think he shouldn't catch up. Take such a narrow swath, he should be fine where he's at. Let's jump out and let him do his thing. Walk up the hill, we're racing. Let's see what's going on from the ground level. Let's go back this way. He can run us over. So there he goes, cultivating. That guy's doing what he's supposed to be doing. That guy's going down the hill. The other guy, he may be going to unload. He may have been full on that one. Oh, where is he? Yeah. Yeah, he's going to unload, so follow him along while he unloads. I don't know how much actual driving I will do in this series. I think I will take a more of a managerial approach and make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. Some people don't like that. I do. I'm not going to take everyone on a tour of this map because I think most people have already seen people playing this map and know pretty much where a lot of things are, so I'm not going to waste your time at this point. If this had been a brand new map and not many people have played it, then yeah, I'm not around and taking you on a tour. But just do some farming, how about that? Well, at some point, I think we will get a tractor to run grain to sell points. I do have courses set up for most of them. I don't think I have all of them set up yet. And I also have set up a course. Look at the map. We own these two fields down here. I also set up a course to run from the main farm here down somehow. I don't remember exactly, to run all the way down there, down these roads. And it's basically a course transfer from point A to point B. So I can basically buy equipment at the farm shop, the dealer, reset them back to the farm, set them up in line to where the transfer course goes from the main farm down to the south farm, I call it, and set them off. And then I set a wait point at the very end that will alert me to when such and such a vehicle has arrived at a waiting point, and then I can actually go into this screen or tab to it, stop him, reset the course, and then I'll have vehicles down there without actually having to drive them all the way, which makes it very easy. So, one of these points, one of these videos, we'll talk about the basics of how a combine works. I don't know everything about them, but growing up for over 20 years, almost 25 years, you get a good idea of how things work and how to fix them. So maybe at some point we will go and talk about a little of that. I'll tell you some stories about driving a combine and different things. I won't let it all out right now. So I think what we'll do then is we'll go ahead and get ready to end this episode as a starter. Just getting started. We'll have more as we go. So I do thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy it. I know that for some people this will be kind of boring, and that's fine. That's their choice. I do this in the way that I enjoy doing it, and if anybody has suggestions of what they would like to see, I'm not going to go up into like mega machinery, but if you would like to see something a little bit different, please let me know in the comments. And like the video if you like it, dislike it if you don't. Subscribe to my channel if you feel like it. I appreciate it ahead in advance, and I thank you for watching. So we will see you next time.